Yesterday I commented on a video that came across my timeline on Twitter that showed passing drill. What was described as a passing drill was a player dribbling through cones, and then at some point a second ball is thrown to the player, and the player has to pass the ball that he was dribbling. And the title was something to the effect of, if you think you can pass, try this drill. And to me, this is not a passing drill by any stretch of anyone's imagination. Um, because one, the greatest constraints in a game aren't present. So there's no defense. Presumably, they're passing to a stationary target because the target's out of the video, so you can't really see who the ball is being passed to. But presumably, it's a stationary target. So you're not accounting for movement, you're not accounting for defense. Both defending the person who's receiving the pass and also a defensive player defending the ball. So you're not having to pass around an immediate defender, and you're not having to account for other defenders in the environment that will affect the pass. And then also you're not having to account for the movement or the speed of movement and direction of movement of that player. So again, there's really no coupling of the perception and the action. Furthermore, the way the pass is being thrown, because of the way that the drill is set up to make the passing harder, it's a one-handed, more or less half-speed pass. And it's similar to another drill that I've done and demonstrated that I'll link below, in that the pass isn't perfect because you're trying to do two things. You're receiving a ball and passing the ball at the same time. So it's making the skill of passing harder, but it doesn't incorporate any of the complexity of a game. But the pass that ultimately results is not a pass that would work in a game. So saying, well, this person who's good in passing, you need to be able to do this drill. But there's no relationship between this drill and what you do in a game. And as the quote that I like to use from Rafe Kelly, complexity will transfer to simplicity, but simplicity doesn't transfer to complexity. So again, to me, this is not a very complex drill because it doesn't have all the different variables in the environment. It might be a hard drill and it might be complicated, but that doesn't necessarily transfer to game performance. Whereas being a adept passer in a game probably will transfer down to this drill. So to me, when I do, my kind of similar drill that I use, I'm not doing it to practice passing. I wouldn't call it a passing drill. It's more of a coordination drill. It's more of a challenge, and for players to have some fun. And so once, it's not something that we're going to do every day because, again, I don't see a lot of transfer from the drill to game performance. But every once in a while, during the course of a season, it's good to break up practice and do some things that are fun and do some things that are challenging and do some things that might motivate players to practice something new. And so I might do it once every couple of weeks, but once players master it, I'm really not going to use it again because it's past its utility. So it challenged players. The players accomplished a goal. They've completed the task, and because it's not going to improve or transfer to game performance, there's really no sense to continue using that drill. It's time to now find a new training stimulus or something else that's going to be challenging and motivating to the players. So again, this dribbling through the cones also, makes the drill harder, but it also has some negative transfer because in the drill, the players are looking at the ground so they know where the cones are. They're also not dribbling at full speed because the cones are pretty close together. So again, we're missing most of the important things that need to happen in a game, i.e. dribbling with our eyes up and dribbling at speed and dribbling against a defensive player and ultimately making a correct decision off the dribble. And none of these are present in this drill. Instead, we're reacting to a second ball being thrown at us, which will never occur in a basketball game, and making a pass that would never be completed in a game, dribbling through cones, and dribbling at not full speed. So there's really nothing about this drill that reflects a game environment, but it could be used if we're saying, hey, this is a challenge and it's fun for players. It might have a purpose every once in a while. but it's not something that's going to transfer to game performance. It's not something that's going to prove whether or not you're a good passer in a game, and it's just not game realistic. So if it's fun, if it's challenging for players, that may be a reason to use it, kind of like the drill that I use, that I think is fun for players. I learned it when I was a player playing in Europe, and it's a challenge, and it's something to work towards and accomplish. But beyond that, there's not a lot of transfer to game performance, and it's certainly not, in my eyes, a passing drill.